Okay, guys, as a follow-up from our time this last weekend on your property, Carolyn, this is, I go into Henderson CAD, I put your name in there, and, I hit the results, and we get 8 properties that you have, and effectively they're really one property of, 14 and a half acres. So if we hit the interactive map, we can easily start to see that this is what we're dealing with. This is, of course, very familiar to you. This would be where the road at top, that little narrow strip. And then this, of course, are those 8 tracks that all come. This is that square there belongs to Trey, but all of this comes in that little triangle right there belongs to you. That little narrow, that kind of hump there is where this, I guess it's 21,450. That's where your home is located. And of course, that's the main road that comes in. This right here is why it's thrown off a little bit. These squares, those narrow squares right there, they're allotting those to you. That actually, let me show you kind of what I mean there. This is not that square there, this square there, and that square there actually belong to Trey, but if you click on them, it lights up saying it belongs to you. That's actually not true. And you can see as we go and toggle to a different, if we go to the hybrid, then you will see that they're calling that partly yours, but that's actually Trey. So that's why if you add all those acreages up, they say you own 14.92. You actually, when you take this out, you own 14.5. So you lose 0.42 on the assessment. But here's where the interesting thing goes. I took a screenshot of this and made it an overlay, and I brought it into Google Earth. And so effectively, I've made this, you can kind of see here, I spent about 7 or 8 hours on this today, still spilling. So I put that on there, and you can see that it overlays nicely right onto Google Earth. The thing is, now I can start to make measurements, and which is what I've done. And I'm going to take that off, but I use this as my tracer. Okay, so I used all this to trace, of course, not using this line, but using this line. And what I've come up with now, taking this off, is I've got Carolyn's land, which is, oops, I guess it didn't come off. Okay, Carolyn's. Yeah, so this is really what you own, Carolyn. And I show it to be right at about 14.5 acres, okay? And you can see that what we have here. So turn it on, turn it off. Now, what's beautiful, of course, is that this is what you pay taxes on. The stuff that goes to the lake, actually, if we toggle back to the assessors, is if we click on this, you can see it says it's property of the Water Authority. And that's true. All of that's Water Authority. Everything, that's why it's actually, you kind of gain that land even though you don't pay taxes on it. And I made a drawing of it too, which I call additional access land. And it's 9.4 acres when we add all of this in there, which means that if you add your 14.5 plus the 9.4, you actually end up with about 24 total acres that you have access to. It's great. It's beautiful because, of course, you can't build on any of this right here, but you do get access. You can put docks on it. You can put, as your neighbors did here, a boathouse on it. You just can't build houses on it, which means we're limited to this right here to build houses. Okay, so right here, if you can follow this, is where I used, this to effectively, this line here. I said, okay, 150 feet is generally a conservative allottage, 150. So I went and using this measuring tool. I won't go through it, but I hit there and I measured 150 feet to about right there, 150 feet from there to about there. And so I came up with these different lots, and you'll see, lot 1 comes up, lot 2, going 150 feet. This gives us how many lots we can truly put in there. And this is critical because, it lets us see and envision what we're doing as far as making plans. So you can only get in 11 lots. And so this one, of course, doesn't have the 150, but what the benefit of this one is, you have access to the clubhouse, and you have, this, where the lots end, you would actually have to extend, they would actually be getting much more acreage. But this lot here, as you can see, is, lot 1 is 0.49 acres. When you add the extra, it's about 1.38 acres. Won't go into all of that, but 0.58, 0.68, 0.85. This one's 0.86, 0.87. This one here, of course, being 1.67 acres. And then I created one other thing here, which will show the common areas. This is where people can use the stables right here. That's the horse stable and the corral right there if we were to get this land from Trey. This right here, I'm kind of calling a common community hall. If people that lived here wanted to have parties, they couldn't have them at the clubhouse. This is really members only, hanging out, maybe a bar there, some other things. But this is where you're, maybe the space right there might be good for like putting some pickleball courts, and here's some indoor hoops, ping pong tables under there. Just a space, where people could throw parties. And this would be turned right here into a parking lot. And this shows kind of, this of course would be the stables. People could have access and have their horses. What it comes down to, though, is that you have a lot more land than I thought to play with, to mess with. But it really, I was thinking this one would in fact be you and Mike's. If you were to get one, you would put your, kind of get rid of where John's mobile home was. You guys would have your home here. And let me kind of show you what I mean. We had talked about, I'm just going to go here to a polygon and kind of show you that, you can make a house. So I'm just going to kind of do a square. And I'm just going to kind of go here and just make a square like that's a house that Danny would design. And then that right there, we'll just do measurements. And that's 1,840 square feet. So if I start to adjust it a little bit, we're at 2,000. So you can see, you can get your house, make it a little bit bigger or wider. And, pretty soon you're dealing with a 2,500 square foot house right there. So with all that being said, these lots are wide enough definitely to incorporate the houses. And what's really cool is, this is, that these would definitely fit, and you guys could have a bigger house, however you did it right in here. You guys don't have as, this is a 40, basically, this area right here is 43 feet. And this, these are 150, but this goes, of course, straight down here. You would have a lake access. It's just, it would be minimal compared to the other ones. That stated, you do get the benefit of the public access space here. And since no one can build any boathouses, it'd be restricted. What would be interesting, I think, is if one could kind of project out, here's Jim's land, which I'm showing to be 11.6 acres, but then he has, of course, the same thing you do. He has some added additional acres, so that would be there. And it's 1.35 acres that he has there. And then, of course, if Trey's land was able to come up, that's what you get with his 31.3. So all in all, we're talking about effectively, about, 60 something acres if all of this were purchased. Not, and I didn't even include the Holly's acreage, but conceivably you could go in and put some, maybe a lot here. If you were to get Trey's land, you'd have to leave the corral. Maybe you would maybe you'd leave all this open because of that's got, of course, the pond there. But, maybe draw out another lot here and another lot here. Maybe, if this ended up, if we could get, your uncle's land, certainly you could put an extra lot here and an extra lot here. So maybe you could squeeze 3 or 4 extra lots out of it, but for sure the most you would get out of what you hold right now is 11 lots. And I do think it's worth mentioning, you've got an amazing start with what you have here. I mean, really, really amazing start. Basically 24 acres, that's all yours to work with. And if you were to sell these at, obviously these are bigger. This one, of course, would be, you'd keep this one for yourself and not sell it. But you have 10 lots to sell. This one's, an acre, and this one's half an acre. But the prices would differentiate, but you would definitely get, hundreds of thousands of dollars even for the smallest lot. Okay, well, that's it.